I represent the County Board of Dalarna in Sweden at regional level, working on energy and climate issues. And I've also been the work package leader for this part of the CAMS project, working with digital platforms for energy auditing. And we started out doing a status quo report on auditing. And some of the findings needs to be picked up in the end also. So we can all agree that there is a big need to scale up energy auditing. Just by our countries, it's more likely close to several hundreds thousands of energy audits that needs to be done. And to make that happen, we can conclude that there is not enough clear responsibility for implementing energy audit programs in large scale, and that we need more support schemes and financial incentives to get this done. We can also see that all partners have stated that the number and even more important, the competence among energy auditors is very crucial if we want to have high quality auditing being done. We can also conclude that there is a big difference in the amount and standard of energy audits between the member states. We have different ambitions in calculation of energy use and different ways of collecting and presenting data. We have quite a big variety in how many measures are presented in different audits and how relevant they are and what measures are missed. And there is no common standard for distribution of used energy. And there is no standard for financial calculations. And it's also a big difference in when you actually look at the final reports, the auditing reports, how they are written in the different countries. But this was focused on the difference. We can also conclude that there is actually more similarities than differences. The challenge is the same in all countries, and the technology is very much similar, but the way of managing these programs and questions is the one that differs most. And also, sorry, forgot this one. There is in no countries we have a quality control of energy audits. And the energy performance certificates and energy audits could have an increased quality. The status quo report also can conclude about platforms for audits. And it found that all member states of all partner countries, I should say, have country-specific registers for EPCs. Even though they look a little bit different, we all have some type of register for the energy performance certificates. But it gives access to individual EPC reports, and in some case, for some partners, there is possibilities to do simple data aggregation and benchmarking, but at a very simple level, and it's not so easy to aggregate data and do analysis. And when it comes to database for energy audits in buildings, enterprises, large or small, it's mostly lacking. Latvia has this building information system, which you have been mentioned. That is close to being some kind of database of this kind, but could be developed. And in Sweden, we have a database, but more like a register, but it's no systematic way of collecting data for aggregated analysis and for benchmarking possibility. So we can say that this is actually one finding, just to the mapping that we have been done and comparing the systems has been itself a valuable outcome from the project and presented in the status quo report, as well as in the output result report named Improving Energy Audits Capacity in the BSR. We have we didn't have this picture at all when we started the project, how this actually look in the different countries. And it has been, as I said, a good value just to bring it up and put it on paper, how it is and how it differs and what's similar. Then the Ecodoma company was contracted by the Estonian partner to do an evaluation of the NEAD platform, and that was the evaluation of that particular NEAD platform version that we tested in the project. And some summary of the conclusions from introducing it at BSR level, Baltic Sea region level, was that all partners agree that a systematic way of collecting data for aggregated analysis and making data possible to use in an effective way, including benchmarking, is needed. And it could be done by using NEAD platform, but it needs a few adjustments and further development, of course. But partners also agree that benchmarking possibility on Baltic Sea level would add value, but it's difficult to use the platform because of the differences that we have. About policy recommendations, when it comes to introducing it at BSR level, the finding from Ecodoma was that due to large differences in audit requirements and standards, it's difficult to introduce at BSR level as a common mandatory platform for audits. It could be rather a voluntary platform. If, and that's some if then we would have to have unified standard data taxonomy, as Patrick spoke about, so that we all use the same way of collecting and distributing data. A platform needs to have a long-term finance, and we need to improve the platform a bit more. Jacek mentioned a few of those. We have to be an adaptation for different building types so that you can extract the same kind of buildings, and you need some correction factors for making benchmarking possible. For instance, climate correlation and building usage. So scoping out a little bit, that was on this particular, but we could conclude then that we all have the same challenge, and that a platform of similar kind, as we don't have to focus just on the way NEAD looks at the moment, but having a digital platform for data collection and analysis and benchmarking could be, and there could be three options then. It could be introduced at national level as a new tool for non-existing register. So if a member state don't have any system at all, such data, this kind of database would then be the way to go. Or it could be used as an inspiration for the development of existing register or databases towards a system that allow data analysis, benchmarking, and open access, and so on. And a third option would be to actually, to introduce it at national level as an alternative to the existing register. So there are different options for how to go. We also evaluated the project, and this evaluation report is written by us as work package leaders. And some of the conclusions then is it is possible to harmonize, collect, and quality control and visualize data from audits. There is a great potential to do this in a centralized and uniform way with a standard way of collecting data. And we can conclude that a digital platform enable benchmarking, and that could be used both for authorities and for companies and for building owners and for other stakeholders. A digital platform generate new knowledge about energy performance for different energy use and for different type of buildings. And that is needed and a good use within research development, setting up new programs and new projects. And a digital database for energy measures can inspire to find more possible measures, both for energy auditors, for building owners, companies, and others. And we also conclude that the lack of quality control of audits actually decrease the pace of energy efficiency, since there is no really incentive of keeping the good quality up. And we miss many opportunities by not doing high quality audits. And then last, by training in audit methodology. So if auditors are trained more and carrying out many audits and doing analysis from the same database, the competence would can be increased by auditors. And and so then you can also sum up from the whole project in the work package as such, some policy recommendation that the development and implement a unified methodology for energy audits, including standard units, taxonomy, is needed, and that's a policy recommendation. And also to actually develop digital databases platforms for collecting of unified and quality controlled data that makes it possible to analyze and do benchmarking is another recommendation. Partners have also agreed that there is a need for stronger regulation and tougher implementation of the directives on energy efficiency. And that goes with the need for more incentives for voluntary energy audits. And finally, partners stress the need of clear guidelines on how to connect energy usage to CO2 emissions, not having energy as a separate task from the CO2 emissions, but to interlink the two. Well, that was my maybe shorter than the program says, but that was my sum up of conclusions and policy recommendations.